CMON Games has come out with what? Teburu? 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 Teburu?
Teburu.
Teburu. It's Japanese. Teburu.
We're going to do that. Game system. And if you go to CMON.com, CMON.com.
It's their fault for chasing it.
I know, and they want you to pronounce it come on.
Come on.
Not CMON, it's come on.
Come on.
Come on Games.
They want you to pronounce come on, and they want you to pronounce Teburu.
Oh. Teburu. It's like Toblerone.
It's Japanese for table. I just looked it up.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Oh, that's actually cooler. All right, I'm on it. No, just kidding. So if you look up what it is, it's basically this digital to physical, like interactive device. It's basically a mouse pad that you sit down on the table, and all the pieces that you have to buy board games specifically for it. Zombicide Evolution, I think it was called, is the one that's going to come out with it on the Kickstarter in 2020. And basically all the miniatures have these stands that you put them on, like the typical CMON Games stands that you click them into, the colored bases, but now they're going to have an actual ID chip in them. So when you sit them on this mat, which is on top of a tile, then it's going to actually send that information to your tablet that you have on display, and your cell phones can actually act as the disc, like the player boards. Now there is one thing I will say. I'm not 100% sure based on what they've shown. I haven't really did much research outside of their actual video. I don't know for sure, but I wonder if the actual handheld devices and the tablet that you get are actually part of this whole package.
Highly doubt it.
That would be expensive.
Yeah, that would be super expensive.
You only need just like monitors that would just be streaming it. You know what I mean? So
expensive.
it would be a lot of expensive, right? Or maybe they'll have those available to purchase, but then you can use your cell phones instead.
No, everybody either has one or they can easily get one in like a Fire tablet or
right.
something.
Yeah, I really do
Pretty
think it's
inexpensive.
for the mat specifically, and like everything else comes in the board game.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this?
Wasn't there something like this when Gollum Arcana came out? Or
I've seen that.
There was like a pen that you
read the stats off on them, but that was specifically for that game. It wasn't.
This is specifically for Zombicide Invasion or whatever it is.
Evolution.
Zombicide Evolution.
Well, right now, but they're going to come out with more and more Teburu games that use the same mats that you put them on there. But my thing is it necessary? Like, I feel like
I'm skeptical.
XCOM is cool. I know everybody's going nuts about like Mansions of Madness 2, like 2nd edition, and the Lord of the Rings game and stuff. I feel like if the game is mostly being played by the tablet, you don't need the game.
Right. That's how I feel about Chronicles of Crime. You don't need the game. Could be all on a tablet.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not a real big fan of these. All these companies keep trying to go in that direction. I think that there's a big push for the industry to go to this hybrid board game computer game thing, and I'm not sure it's necessary or
no, I don't see
wanted.
There's a couple games that have done well doing so, but overall I haven't seen a lot of games actually go to that direction and still do well.
Yeah.
There's an interesting game that's going to be at Gen Con now that's called Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Or I don't know if it's called Das Boot. It's Boot. Anyway. And that one is essentially, it's one of those computer games of war simulation, but then you also have this boat that you move miniatures on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how well that game does, because it feels a whole lot like some of those military sims on the computer.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think, Matt? You excited?
I play board games to move pieces around.
Well, you still can move them around, and when you move the guy out, you might hear a window smash.
Yeah.
Right. Or the door open. Or,
yeah. I don't know. I always wonder, I guess they got to keep up with all the updates and crap. I don't know. It doesn't interest me in a whole big way.
I think it's a cool system. However, I'm not sure if it's going to be worth the cost. I'm not sure on what the MSRP of this game is going to be. I know implementing all these electronics into the game is going to increase the cost, and thus you have less games that you might be able to buy, but those games might be better if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. So give and take.
I would imagine they're trying to do it maybe to lower cost for them.
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
no,
absolutely.
It's definitely going to increase costs for them as well
initially, but then the costs will come down. And the reason I say that,
unless you can reuse those different items game to game.
Yes, and
If they come up with some kind of system.
Based on the imagery from the video, no. I mean, each game's coming with its own tiles, its own artwork, its own miniatures, everything.
Oh, okay.
It's own dice.
You have the bases which are separate, and you can just probably program, all right, this base is going to go on this character now. And the app could, totally take care of that. So you can move bases around to possibly different games. Or, the tiles that they use, you can move those tiles around to different games because a lot of their games are similar. That is just a terrain piece.
But saying could, but what I'm saying is on the video, then no. I mean, it was like games that weren't part of the same. It wasn't like zombies and another zombies and another zombies. It was like different games. Like for instance, zombies, Blood Rage. There's not a lot of crossover there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea is going to be sort of like what's happening in schools now, where you don't actually have printed textbooks anymore. Everyone has Chromebooks. So you can put more and more information just,
Well,
instead of
one,
printing
I
it-
highly agree with this, but I agree with that. I think this is like unnecessary because you lose the tactile feeling of playing the board game.
Yeah, no, I'm not on board with this, and it really depends to me on what they do with that technology.
Right.
If they actually do make a lot of content in terms of a lot of textual content, that's a lot of storytelling content that they then
Right.
put
I
on
do
the
like
app,
storytelling
Yeah.
content
then it'll be worth it.
possibilities.
But if they do what they did, for example, with First Martians, where there was an app with the game, and then they used none of that technology to have any kind of story related to the game come up on that app, and it was just one sentence and plus or minus
Right.
one. That was horrible. That was one of the worst, most disappointing board games
Experiences.
I've seen.
Yeah.
When I thought this will have all this story that can be stored on the app, it can be paragraph after paragraph of descriptive Mars, adventure.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be just nothing.
Well, the only thing I'm really excited about is I had this idea in my head for a board game that was kind of like a choose your own adventure that used an app, right? And it would tell you things, but it was choose your own adventure in the style of you type out what you want to do, and if it's an actual command, it'll tell you the next thing, almost like the text-based adventure games.
Yeah.
But what you could do is
Zork.
actually when you set up the table, and this is what I'm actually going to get to with Teburu, is that you can have spaces on the board that are secretive. I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy Tactics or Ogre Battle. I'm sorry, not Ogre Battle, but Tactic Ogre back in the day. If you walked around and landed on a specific square, you might find a buried treasure. And you could literally do this in this game without having to put down secret tiles, and it would be an actual surprise. So you could actually have surprises in the game that would be kind of neat.
Depending on where you put your character on that tile.
Yeah, but you would make it in like tiles that you wouldn't traverse normally. If it's like a grid system
yeah.
and you're like, why would I walk over there when it's so much easier to go this way? And so like maybe one time you're getting chased by something, you're moving off into a corner and you land on the right square. It's like you find a shotgun hidden behind the curtain. Like that kind of stuff would be neat.
Right.
But overall, this has to be incredibly affordable, and the games itself, like the system can be a buy-in, that's fine, but the games themselves have to be reasonable. I think if both of them are expensive, this will die off in 3 years.
Yeah. Which if you...
I would have said 2 if it wasn't cool mini or not.
Which I would imagine, or hopeful, that they, if you're buying into a system like that, like you said, that they do make the games more affordable, because now that they don't have to replicate a lot of those components, so it makes them cheaper for them to produce those additional components.
You're
in order
talking
to play a new
specifically
game.
moving from one game to another, though.
Right. Or even
I
expand.
don't see that happening. I think you're going to buy a board game,
And it's going to come with all the...
and it's going to come with its ID tags, all its dice. I mean, the dice on there were specific. You know what I mean?
They have chips in them.
Well, they had chips on it, but the outside was zombie side imaging. Like it's zombie side like symbols and stuff.
Oh, well, what's the point of that? You could just have blank dice
Well, yeah, but then
if you have a chip.
it goes against the quality of the presentation, I guess. So we'll have to see.
Actually, regular
if it's
zombie side doesn't come with...
but you can buy...
You can buy, upgrade dice packs.
Right. So hopefully there is a little bit more modular stuff to it, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's okay. I'm just gonna really have to see the price tag, and even then, I don't know. I'd rather just play a computer game, I guess.
Well, I probably would.
I need to see some incredible innovativeness that you can't replicate without it,
Right.
like that surprise thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the hook of Zombicide Evolution? Do we know what that is about?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll find out, I guess. We'll talk about it more as more
Teburu.
stuff comes out. Teburu. Surprise.
Yeah.